Welcome back to the 12-month video game repair challenge. This is episode 6. Here are the numbers that we'll be adding to as of last month, but this month kind of felt like a failure to me. I had some random returns, some ongoing issues that after a lot of research I'm not sure can actually be solved, and on top of all that, I still can't seem to work enough hours each month. Let me cover the rules really quick for anyone new that is watching before diving into everything that happened this month. First off, no debt. I start with $0 and I need to repair and sell items that I already have to make enough money to buy new parts and new items to fix. The goal is $10,000 in sales by the time I'm done too. Number 2 is I have a maximum of 7 hours a week to do any testing and repairs. Number 3 is there's no cost for supplies and tools I already own. And number 4 is to share everything. One summary video each month until the 12 months are done. And here's a few sales from the beginning of the month. Alright, first sale of the month. Got a green Xbox controller with new thumbsticks and a new cord with some random scratching on the side for about 30 bucks. Excellent. Hey, just sold the black controller with the replaced thumbsticks for about 25 bucks. Awesome. Alright, had a great weekend of sales. This one is 130 bucks and this one sold for 125. Both of these had clock caps removed, band drives swapped, and had some of their caps replaced on the main board too. But they all come with all the hookups and everything, and each will be going out later today. Excellent. The first repair of the month really isn't a repair, but more so the finishing of a previous one. I've had this copy of Pokemon Yellow for literally years now, since the front of the housing was so badly damaged that it cracked in half. I've been messaging eBay sellers to see if they had an extra original for the last several months now, and finally found someone who did. I picked this one up for about 15 bucks and can now finally finish this one out and get it listed online. I got the replacement label from a seller on Etsy years ago as well, and the only thing left to do was stick it in place. Well, also I had to test it one more time just to make sure nothing happened while it was getting jostled around for the last few years in my box of unfinished projects. But it's working great, and it looks great too. Next up is a yellow Game Boy Color that I found at a rummage sale recently that is honestly the best condition I've ever seen for one of these, except for the battery terminals. It works sometimes if the batteries are in the right position, but if they are out of place just by a little bit, it won't turn on at all. Which is really a shame since this unit has so little wear and it looks like it was freshly pulled from its box. Even the labels look perfect, but not a difficult fix at all. Just open it up to make sure there's no corrosion that has made its way inside the housing, which doesn't appear to have happened, which is good. Then pop out the battery terminal from the rear of the housing and give it a good cleaning. The housing got cleaned up right away, but I'll clean the terminal later since I have a few extra authentic versions that I popped out of some junk housings a while ago. Off camera, I removed the price sticker and the residue that it left behind carefully and called it done. Alright, just had 2 more sales. So, sold this absolutely gorgeous Game Boy Color unit that, I mean, look at that. When I put it in the light, this barely has any scratching at all on the lens whatsoever. It still has all of its original labels. It just had that corrosion problem in the back, but sold this for 85 bucks. It's in great shape. I'm sure the new owner is going to really love it because this is such a really nice item. But got that one, and then also sold this Model 1 bundle for about 85 bucks as well. Came with new replaced cables. This is the original power pack and original. I really like the original controller with the red letters and the red arrows on here, but yeah, this one sold for 85. This one is also 85. I got in some more cap kits for Sega Game Gears and decided I should probably finish the ones that I started fixing last month too. I had 3 in total, and after going through them all, I only ended up making one whole unit right away. One unit had some corrosion issues that I really didn't feel like dealing with right away, and the other one had a sound issue that I'll show you in just a little bit. But I was finally able to get a good board for the light blue Japanese housing that I've had for a long time. And let me tell you, it was nice to get some of these older projects finished and out of the way. But here's the issue with the sound on the other Game Gear. When the volume is all the way up, speakers tend to crackle and pop, which could be the speaker or the soundboard, or potentially both. But I have a few extra speakers and wanted to swap it out since it was really looking dirty from the front anyway. Unfortunately, these aren't easy speakers to swap since they are melted in with plastic. Not too difficult, but your house will stink for a little bit if you do take it apart. I used my iron and touched off on the ends of the plastic studs holding the speaker in place to remove them. These typically don't require a lot of heat to melt away from the housing, so don't feel like you need to sit on them for a while. Just loosen them up with a little bit of heat and pop the bracket off. I took the speaker power wire off the old one and reinstalled it into the new version by adding adding some solder to the backside. Reassembled it in reverse order and pushed on each of the plastic studs with my iron to get them to melt into the top piece. But I tested it again and it sounded better, but not perfect. It still sounds a little rough when you turn the volume all the way up, but it doesn't have all the crackles from before, which is still an improvement. I checked the soundboard one more time to make sure nothing was out of place to cause the extra distortion, but I didn't find anything and finished this unit out by replacing the front screen glass on the handheld. I'd also like to send a big thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring today's video. PCBWay.com is a printed circuit board manufacturer that provides a wide variety of options for prototyping and assembly. And they've recently announced that they're able to print full color images directly onto custom PCBs now too. Also, it was their 10th anniversary recently. Stay tuned for additional updates on their website, but I hear there will be upcoming anniversary promotions to take advantage of as well. I would like to thank PCBWay for all their support, and be sure to check out PCBWay.com for all your projects needs. Now on to one of the new things that I just picked up. I've been wondering how well this tip tinner would work out for a while now, and decided to pick up some to try it out for myself. After melting the plastic with my iron, I also figured it was time to make sure the tip I was using was in good shape too. But I cleaned it thoroughly before turning on the heat and plunging it into the tinner. And overall, it worked great. I'll be sure to use it again from time to time, but this tip looked brand new when it was done. Now on to some other game repairs. First up is Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls for Game Boy Advance. This was actually a return from my store that appeared to be working great, but the new owner said it was having issues saving, so let's check it out. Well, it boots up right away, so that's a good sign. But when you go to save it, it says save failed regardless of whatever file you choose. So hopefully nothing is wrong with the chip that controls the saves, since if those go bad, there's not much that you can really do with it to the best of my knowledge. But I opened it up and reheated the legs to the chip that should control the saves and retested it, but nothing. I was so focused on the chip that I didn't even look at the pins since they looked fine in a quick glance. However, when you look closer, the third pin from the left looks corroded and possibly even partially missing. I scratched it with a dental pick and it looks like it's missing completely on the top half. I then scratched it with a fiberglass pen just to make sure, and that confirmed it. The gold from this spot just looks like it had broken off at some point, and when I tested it with a multimeter, I didn't receive a signal from it at all either. So this most definitely is a problem. I'm going to patch it with some magnet wire that I've been using for some of my other Xbox repairs since I love this stuff. It bends easily and it's really easy to solder with too. After scraping off the outer wire coating and the top layer of the PCB, I dropped in a bit of flux over the area too. Then soldered one end of the wire in place so it was attached on the top of the pin, and then soldered in the opposite side and trimmed the wire flush. I tested it again with a multimeter and it was now connected really well. And now the game is working great too. It still functions well and now the saves are working again. But now to cover up that patch. I forgot I actually bought some real solder mask last month and used my old method of covering up the patches with some green nail polish instead. But not to worry, I have another game that may need a patch as well. Enter Starshot for N64, another non-working cartridge I picked up last month. This card is a little beat up, but at least it still has its label intact. The pins look a little dirty, so before I try to put it in my system, let's see what it looks like on the inside and clean up those pins first. The pins look a little rough, so I cleaned them up with some IPA followed by the fiberglass scratch pen, which worked great. Time to test it out. And of course, it's on. We have nothing. So I'm going to see if I can clean anything else first before probing the pins for bad connections. There's a bit of dirt or something behind the legs of this main chip, so I'll remove that, but besides the weird white film, I don't see any major red flags. After running through the test on the pins, I found one that was dead with what looks like a broken trace further up on the board. And the same process applied to this one as with the Final Fantasy game. I scratched away some of the solder mask, tested it to make sure this was the area of the break, then added in a patch made from some magnet wire. The only difference here is I tried to mold it to the shape of the trace underneath. I did a quick test once it was in place, and it was all good again. Let's pop it back into the system to see if that fixed it completely though. Alright, moment of truth. Yes! It's working great now. Off camera, I plugged in a controller and played for a bit to see if it had any weird issues that would pop up, but it was all good. Now we need to finish covering up the patch, and I remembered I had some of that real solder mask this time too. It's nice and thick, spreads well, and cures with UV light. But I'm fresh out of UV light, so I just put it outside for about 5 minutes, and it was nice and hard afterwards. Much better than the nail polish. I did some cleaning on the entire cartridge to get rid of any dirt and debris, and I think it turned out great. Yeah, the labels aren't the best, but it still looks good. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Also, while you're there, let me know if you prefer more videos focusing on individual repairs like this versus tutorials about a specific issue or problem. I would love to know what you would prefer to see, and I'm open to doing some different videos in the future. On to the next fix. You guys remember these? I had several of these as a kid and I loved taking them on road trips, but sometimes the buttons wouldn't work so well after a long play session. Kinda like this one. I picked this up with several others for about $5 each, and this was the only one that seemed to have any button issues. The left and right directional buttons don't register at all, but everything else seems to be working great. Now I've never opened one of these before, but I was always curious about what was inside. So let's find out. There are a few screws in the back holding the housing together and another few screws on the inside holding the simple circuit board in place. I figured these might have little button pads inside like other handhelds, and I was right. Typically if you're having issues with these not registering button presses, you just clean the black center parts and that fixes the problem. Hopefully it's the same with these too. Now let's see if I can take them out carefully. Nope, apparently not. But what I'd like to do with these is get a clean paper towel and some IPA soaked Q-tips. Then scrub the black parts of the pads with Q-tips until they are nice and wet. Then rub them on some paper towel to dry and remove any of the debris. It's easier to see with larger pads, but there's a black mark left behind from the center when you do this. I'm not sure if these pads degrade over time or they have a buildup of hand oils on them, but it seems to do the trick for fixing buttons. Once you're done, reinstall everything how it was before and test it out. This one works great, and now the Batmobile can knock clowns out of the way once again. Hopefully for many years to come. And now a mini break before diving into some packages I just got in. So I literally just got this in the mail. I thought it was an Xbox that I had ordered, but I figured I would share with everybody what I had just sent in because I just realized as I opened up that one flap what these actually are. I've been saving these for a minute because I just happened to find them out in the wild, and yeah, they're games that I sent in for grading. So I have no idea, I haven't looked at any of these, and yeah, let's just take a look what I have. Ooh, 9.6, that is fabulous. That is so cool. Little break time from repairs. All right, let's check out the next one. Oh, 9.8, what? That is fabulous. Oh my god. That is so cool. Alright. I had a second one of this and I believe that's what this one is. Okay, 9.16. Still good. Still really good. Still really liking that grade. And last but not least. Oh. Assassin's Creed. 9.8. What? What? Oh my god. Wow. Well, there you go. So, what I do in my spare time when I'm not repairing things. Alright, got another return. So, the guy said that the D-pad wasn't working and the face buttons don't work. So, let's test it out and see if that's true, because I have a hard time thinking that this one has a problem. And look at that. It works perfectly fine without any issues whatsoever. So yeah, this is just part of doing business on eBay. Alright, I just had this happen, and apparently I'm eating my words because oh, now it's doing it. Now it's working. But before, it would not go through. Look, oh, right there. Look at that. Nothing. But this works, but the thumbstick does not. D-pad works perfectly fine. Thumbstick, no working whatsoever. So maybe the cord went bad? I don't know, hopefully that's a easy swap, but that's crazy. Check this out though. You load up a game and it just suddenly works. Okay, that has to be something with the cord. It has to be. Well, I'll worry about that later. Alright, just got another return. This guy said that the control ports for the controller are not working. I'm guessing it's the control ports because they look like they have like flash rusted in the package. I know I cleaned these really good the last time. They were working great, but things can happen in transit. There could be moisture changes, whatnot, and maybe I scraped too much of these off with something. I don't know, but that should be a pretty easy fix to get this back up and running and working again, and hopefully get it back online. Since I had 3 returns this month, I might as well show you the random collection of failures that I've been able to accumulate that I can't seem to fix. Alright, so here's all the items. I laid them all out that I cannot fix whatsoever. Just random issues. Some of these you've seen from previous videos. Other ones I just don't really have any interest in doing anything with PS4, so I just tossed that to the back. This one, it was so corroded that the pins actually fell out for the batteries, so that's not really something that I can fix. It's more so just spare parts. This, I literally can't even get it apart, and it's pretty destroyed. But Mario Kart, completely missing a couple pins on the bottom. I'm not sure if there's any way that you can really even fix that, honestly. But some of these other ones you've seen from previous videos, like the controllers, some of these other pieces for Game Gears, but I've started a box of random stuff that I cannot fix, that I've either failed to fix or just has no other way of being able to put it together. So I'll keep adding to it if I keep finding more stuff, but hopefully I'll be able to continue to fix stuff in the future. But the box is getting a little full lately. I sent in another order to XYAB because I'm running low on a few things and needed a few extras of others. Picked up 2 DS Lite batteries to hopefully fix up the new ones I just got in recently. Got a bunch more quick disconnects for Xbox controllers since I cannibalized my other replacement cords for these. Now I have some extras and enough to replace the ones I took from those cords too. Also picked up a universal charge cable for a few Nintendo handhelds just in case I happen to sell one of my chargers accidentally again, and a few DS Lite chargers for the ones I hopefully will fix soon. Got some more Xbox 360 battery covers in the white and black versions. I happen to need more of these since I have good controllers that I have ready to sell online, and figured why not get a few extras just in case I find more of them too. Also picked up a few Super NES power packs since I have AV cables for the consoles, but no power packs for some reason. And some more Wii sensor bars too since I ran out of those as well. And last but not least, some original Xbox power and AV cord sets. Now not all of these will be used right away, but at least they'll be available when I need them in the future. Alright, you could probably guess what these are, but I got in a few extra packages. So let me go open them up real quick and I'll show you what's inside. Alright, this is what's in the XYAB box. So I bought some of these extra Xbox replacement cords because I keep getting comments in the videos saying that the links that I provided were empty. They were out of stock, they weren't getting them in. When they'd message the sellers or even on Amazon, they just have no updates whatsoever. So I figured I'd throw a few of these in my store on eBay so that you guys had them available to you, because it seems like I was able to get them pretty quick. I placed the order about 5 days ago, not even, and I got these over the weekend, so these came in pretty fast. So if you're interested, I'll have another link in the description going to one from my store, but if you can't find them from the other locations, this might be another option for you. So there you go. All right, here was what was in the other boxes. I have 7 total Xboxes here. I paid about 25 to 30, maybe a little bit over 30 for each unit, but I only have about, I want to say 8 or maybe 9 of my original Xboxes left, which is pretty crazy to think about, that I haven't yet to open. Not necessarily left as in finished and ready to go, but left to open. So I needed a couple extra ones because I'm really enjoying working on these. So I have 7 more. These are in various conditions. I mean, this one here in the front is really dirty. It's just a lot of spots and stuff, but a lot of these look like they are the late model versions. One of them even has a DVD dongle here. So cases aren't in the terrible condition. I mean, they are just dirty, but little elbow grease. Hopefully these will clean up nice, but I'll take a look at these at some point and get them all tested. And since I bought some more Xboxes, let's finish out some of the repairs on those. Plus I wanted to test out the new disk drive cap kits that I got in from Console 5 on some Thompson drives from last month. It makes sense to me that these would fix the dirty disk errors, but let's see if it actually does. I grabbed a drive that was non-working from last month and started right in with the disassembly. This is one of the units tested with the hairdryer, and I'm very curious how accurate that test can be with the caps. I started by removing all of the outer metal housing parts from the drive to get to the lower circuit board. Once you have access to it, there are 2 more screws holding the board in place that are really stuck in too. Sometimes they feel like they have Loctite on them, but once those are out, you can take out the 2 ribbon cables from their connectors. You just have to be really careful with these because you can break the clips off easily, so be warned. Then of course the last 2 wires soldered in on the top. Thankfully these are labeled where they go on the board, so you don't need to remember which color goes where when they get removed. But now that the board is loose, you can start to desolder all 12 of the caps on it. Not too difficult of a job if you've done any cap replacements before. But once that is all cleaned up, slide your new caps into place and start soldering them in. Most of the caps in this kit are the same, so it makes it even easier too. Once everything is in the right direction and all soldered in, trim all the legs and reinstall the board into the drive housing. The Thompson, of course, has the most capacitors of any of the drives, but this process took me about 45 minutes the first time. I wanted to try it out on Thompson's first before any of the other manufacturers, since these seem to fail the most often. Samsung's are probably next on that list of failures, followed up by Philips and Hitachi. Those are probably tied for the best drives to have in your original Xbox. But this kit is great and even comes with short caps, so they even fit nicely into the same form factor too. Alright, here we go. So I've got this Xbox all running, and it has a Thompson drive with replaced capacitors, so we're going to try it out for the first time. It loads. See if it's loading over here. And there you go. Brand new capacitors. That's all it takes. And your Thompson is running perfectly fine at that point. Since the first went so well, I tried it on another one. And lo and behold, it was fixed and working again. Could this really be the answer for most disk drive issues? Let's find another 2 Xboxes that have the same issues and replace those drive caps too. I just gotta say, this has probably gotta be one of the cleanest Xboxes I have ever opened. Look at this. There is not a piece of dust to be seen anywhere. Even in the fan. Look at that. The fan is even like completely clean. It's crazy. Clock cap, even pretty good over there too. You can tell that there's a little bit of leakage a little bit over here, but still crazy clean. Really weird to see. This clock cap might have just started leaking, but it really wasn't that bad. I took apart the Thompson drive and cleaned it up so it would be the best it could possibly be before trying it out again. I reassembled this unit and put it off to the side so I could find another one with the same issues to test all at once. Now this is what I'm more used to seeing. You know, nice and dusty. Pretty much in a dust storm, stuff hanging off the side, clock cap broken. So let's go fix that real quick. All right, much better. And I removed the clock cap because, yeah, it's bad. I did the same quick cleaning on this Thompson as well and tested them both to make sure that these are good candidates for new caps. All right, this was the first one. It was the Thompson, but it was a really, really clean Xbox. So as expected, it's not working. So let's try the hairdryer trick. All right, here we go. It's interesting to see one without the Xbox Live section actually added in. Pretty rare too. And look at that. Starts right up. Bad capacitors strike again. Well, hopefully. Bad capacitors. And here's another one. Another Thompson drive. And same problem. Alright, it's all heated up. Now let's see if it works. And this one again has only the 3. It's so weird. It's so rare to see. And it works again. Since both of these units qualify, I swapped the caps on each of these drives and tested them again. I had high hopes of this being the end-all be-all fix for these, but my hopes were dashed. Sadly, the new caps did not fix the 3rd unit and it displayed the same dirty disk error as before. So I tried the 4th unit. And the same error again. Admittedly, this one did take longer to display the error, so maybe that means something? Not sure. But I found and fixed up one more just to make sure and received the same error message again. So the cap replacements worked well on 2 out of the 5 of these, which is great, but I'm disappointed it didn't work on more. What's odd though is that heating each of these drives and testing them when they were warm caused the drives to work again. Is there another component on these boards whose reliability can be changed based on heat alone? Could the laser be affected by the heat as well? Or is there something else to test for in these units that I'm just missing? These are just some of the questions I went searching online for. And after about 9 hours of looking through almost every post I could find about it, I couldn't find any solid answers for any of my questions. So I posed the same questions to you, the audience. If you have any additional insight into fixing these disk drives, please leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to look into it. The replacement of the cap seems to fix some of the issues, but ultimately it could be a losing battle in the end since the lasers for these units just seem to go bad after a while. I know you can do pot tweaks for the laser eyes, but it only extends the use of the drive for a short time. I'm not looking for band-aids or patches either. I'm looking for more permanent solutions. The fact alone that it can damage your disks if not done properly really takes this fix out of my playbook. There seem to be very few reliable sources for new laser eyes, and if no one has any way of fixing these, could the Xbox in its current configuration eventually be a dead relic in the future? It's a possibility. The only other option would be to download games directly to a larger upgraded hard drive built into your console. This is great, but you essentially need to pirate games from online sources if you no longer have a working disk drive. This may be a project I will look into in the future, but for now, I guess these 3 consoles will be incomplete and stay in my repair collection. But on a whim, I decided to see if I could fix one more unit before the end of the month. This one had a Samsung drive with similar problems to the past few. And again, it's really odd seeing the insides of these so clean. Very little dust and it almost looks brand new. The capacitors even look great too. Could it be that the drive went bad early on in this console's life and no one got it fixed? That's my working theory, but who's to know for sure? I did a quick clean on the drive before testing it out, and unfortunately nothing I did helped to make it work again. So maybe I'll try some cap kit installations on some of the other manufacturers in the future. Maybe Thompson's are a bad example to start with altogether. I mean, look at this board. It only has 5 caps that need replacements, so it should be an easier job. But unfortunately I ran out of time and will need to work on this another day. Let's jump into the last few sales for the month and the final numbers too. Hey, just sold another aftermarket Xbox 360 controller for about 20 bucks with the replaced thumbsticks. Awesome. Alright, just sold another Xbox unit. This one has one of the repaired controllers, has all the cables, everything. The clock cap was removed, and I believe I had worked on the drive in here to make sure that it was functioning perfectly, so it also has a new drive band. So, excellent. Another one gone. Alright, had another really great weekend in sales. Had both of these Xbox units, plus the controllers and all the cords and everything, sell for about 120 bucks each. This one had a band drive swapped and a trace repair, clock cap removed, standard stuff. This one had the disk drive caps redone and a new belt put in, as well as the clock cap getting removed. So both of those going out, excellent. And this one, since I already wrapped it up, is the Pokemon cartridge for about 75 bucks. So there it is. Excellent weekend. This month kind of felt like a failure, even though I did get a lot of random projects completed and some more items sold. I'm still having trouble using the full number of hours each month too. Oh well, progress is progress, right? I hope you enjoyed this month's breakdown, and if you've made it this long in the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, as I still have another 6 months to go in this challenge. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Are you kidding me? How does that even... That is so crazy.